Is everybody ready? Tiffany, you good? All right, we've got 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We'll go ahead and call to order, and we will do roll call up here on the stage. We'll start with Ms. Sarah Hoyer.
Sarah Hoyer.
Jason Schultz.
Lauren Tice-Miller.
Tim Howley.
Erica Price.
Rocky Business.
Rosa Cavazos.
Renee Hansen.
Eric Deecher.
All right, thank you everybody for being here. We will start with the approval of the agenda and also the approval of the minutes for the October 18th, 2021 regular board meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Renee, second by Eric. All in favor? 7-0. We will move on to communications, comments and concerns from patrons. Sorry, blanking here. This is an opportunity for district patrons to address the topics directly relevant to the business of the district or items on the current board agenda. All comments must be directed to the board president or presiding officer. Individuals will be given 3 minutes to present ideas, opinions, and/or concerns. All right, we will start with, well, Mr. Tim Watts.
Should be well under today, but good evening. My wife and I recently attended parent-teacher conferences for our two kiddos, and I want to express my sincere thanks to all the teachers and staff who are working so hard to educate them. While some things look a bit different in the school, the dedication, passion, and effort we saw from the staff and commitment to success is alive and well at Shawnee Heights. From talking to staff, I continue to hear concerns with substitute availability. I believe 501 has a bonus plan for their staff, and unless our district differentiates ourselves from the districts around us, we will likely continue to be short-staffed for subs. I have also heard that janitors are backing up as bus drivers for more than 50% of their shifts, and I've told that some at a few schools have been driving most days for weeks upon end. What is Shawnee Heights' plan to address this and attract more subs as we go into the 4 months when we will need them the most? Can we spend some of our district's $51 million budget to secure more staff to support our educators and our students? In a conversation with an elementary educator who's involved with helping our students recover or catch up with Fastbridge, here are some concerns that were discussed. What percentage of our students are showing at risk for academics and social emotional scores? Will this information be shared with the public? If the district will be transparent with this information, what will be the cadence or the routine of when this information will be shared? What systems are in place to support students' needs, and how are they being monitored? What measurement steps will be put into place to make sure the positions that we have filled are supported and are making the needed impact on catching our students up? I spoke to a secondary level educator who expressed concerns as well, communicating that every decision will be based on what the board feels is best for all students and family in the district is what they felt was missing on our current Board of Education. Prioritizing the need to close all learning gaps is one goal of a current board member, and I couldn't agree more. Where I differ is, what are we waiting for? The damage has been done. We can prioritize learning and close the gaps starting tonight. We just have to have a board committed to starting the process now. Already, 4,470 Shawnee County voters have cast their ballot for the 11-2 election. Let's get out and vote and make sure all students and families are considered in the decisions made by our board. If we don't prioritize voting for change now, it will be 2 more years before we have another opportunity. Thank you, the Watts family.
So moved.
Motion by Jason.
Second.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time opening up my my paper here. But there was, thank you. There was something that I saw had a I can't remember where it was. There was something that needed to be reworded. It had the wrong R when I was looking at it. And so if I can open, and it may not have been in here, maybe it was on the other, but I just wanted to point that out so we could get that fixed. So, thank you. Let me see. Darn it. Sorry, guys, I've had computer issues. It's user error. And I'm just trying to find it. You know? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. Was that in this part? Okay. If you know where it is, if you can just fix that. That was the only thing I saw. So, sorry. Oh. No, I'll open this here. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bell.
Do we need to take that vote then?
Yes, so all in favor? 7-0.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm sorry I didn't catch your question. Okay, we'll move on to approve special education bus lease.
We typically lease our special education buses, and we sent that out to bid with Midwest Bus Sales getting the low bid on that. Mr. Hofstra was involved with that, and we'll be glad to answer any detailed questions you have on that. But we think that is a good lease and purchase for us, so we would recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Motion by Jason? Second by Eric. All in favor? 7-0. All right, we're going to move on to approve renewal of Smart Inc. agreement.
This is the motorcycle safety education group here locally. We provide this as a community service. It does a great job working with our community members. We have students that go through, we have adults in our community that go through, learn how to ride safe. They have been good partners with us. The only change in this contract would be we would change the dates of it from a January to December, which makes more sense for them as a fiscal. It has no impact on us or how we work with the state and turn that in for aid. The agreement is the same other than the dates on that. But since that is a good community service and they have been good partners, we would recommend that we continue that program for our community.
I would move approval.
Second.
Motion by Lauren, second by Renee. All in favor? 7-0. We'll move on to approve purchase of box truck.
One of the things that we wanted to look at with cap outlay and some of the additional money that we have coming in for reimbursements through our meal expenditures is we needed to update and replace our old box truck, which we've had for a long time. Like many things today, there are lots of bottlenecks, and when we initially checked on when we could get the box truck, we were told that it would be up to a year before we could replace that. Thanks to some creative people in the district, Dwayne, Nathan, and Sarah started looking for workarounds. They found a cooperative purchasing consortium that would actually allow us to buy the chassis, the box, and the lift gate, and then have those assembled. So we would actually purchase it in parts, all under the same umbrella. It would be put together as part of the deal, and instead of waiting a year, we would be able to put together a new truck for ourselves in short order, and actually at a little lower price than what we were quoted as. So it is an excellent deal, and we've been wanting to replace that for the last couple of times on cap outlay, and this would allow us to do that. So we recommend approval, and I appreciate their creative thought and not taking, we can't get it for a year for an answer. So they did a nice job with that.
And it's going to be the school board that's putting that together, is that correct?
Let's hope not. That probably wouldn't have a warranty.
I know a few engineers, but that's about it.
I just thought it'd be a very good team-building exercise. So.
Yes, it would.
I thought it really intrigued me, and I was really glad to see that they had gone the extra mile to make that work for us right now with all the supply issues that are happening. So I'm excited, and with that, I would move approval.
I would second that, but I also wanted to say I think this is a really great example of how you guys are notorious for thinking outside of the box, or in this case, outside of the box truck. So thank you.
You just
All
had
right.
to say that, didn't you?
I think it was motion by Renee, second by Lauren. All in favor? 7-0. All right, we're going to move on to discussion items. Status of the district. Mr. Halsey.
Thank you. So last week, we were able to complete our cap outlay tours, and we'll be meeting with them, with the administrative team later this week as we start to identify which items we want to prioritize for this list this year. It was helpful, and it was a good process because it also helped us really start to begin to identify more capital-intensive type projects and needs across the district that would be part of a future bond issue. And so we're really starting to delineate now what are the temporary, shorter-term items that we need and what are the more long-term needs that impact the buildings on a greater basis. So that was really good. Also, if you look, when we bring this to you, one of the things that you'll notice is that the district's made really good progress the last couple of years, and so you'll see more cosmetic items on there that we just need for the classroom, for students. It's a little easier to do those types of capital improvements on that, and so you'll see a lot of those. But that's because the district's made good progress on some of the more heavy, intensive infrastructure pieces. Last week, we had an unexpected increase in some of our COVID numbers. You know, our numbers have been trending down very well. We've been very pleased with the progress we were making, and we had not done any contact tracing in quite a while. But we ran into a short-term blip, and we had several cases pop up. We were still able to limit the number of quarantines. We don't have those numbers because everybody's been gone since Wednesday of last week. We'll update those numbers tomorrow so they'll be accurate. But we had a short-term blip on that. We don't think that is a longer-term trend or anything. And if you notice, the numbers in the county ticked up, and the county index jumped 3 points. So it kind of mirrored that. It was a little unexpected, but we also don't think it's a long-term trend either, and we think we'll trend back down. One of the things that we'll do next meeting, coming up in December, we will have our meeting with the Shawnee County Legislative Delegation, and we will use our collaborative advocacy document that we work on with the other districts in Shawnee County, our One United Voice. Some of the highlights and some of the things that we'll be talking about are funding pieces. In particular, special education funding. As you know, that has not been addressed. The percentage that is covered keeps declining, which means we have to continually take more out of operations and general fund to make up for the underfunding in special education. That'll be an area that we will talk about and address, as will fully funding bond and interest, which is important going forward for capital improvements of all districts. We will fully support CAPERS funding. We in particular are concerned with our new employees and young employees. Their level and tier of CAPERS simply is not as robust. So it's important that we have additional savings vehicles for young teachers. So we're grateful for them to choosing public education and public service. But they have to have additional opportunities to save money for a safe and comfortable retirement. And we need the help of the legislature to do those things. So we will be talking about that, as well as explaining the use of the ESSER funds, the expected impact, and how we'll also, those will be coming to an end relatively shortly in 2024, and how we will start to prioritize those as what we keep, what we don't, as we determine which ones we're getting the most bang out of our buck, and really on the student services side moving forward. So we'll be bringing that back next week, in 2 weeks, and sharing that with you, asking for approval, And then we'll be meeting with the Shawnee County Legislative Delegation in early December and sharing those items. I'd be glad to entertain questions.
Thank you for advocating.
Absolutely.
For schools, appreciate that. We'll start with Mr. Hofstra.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to echo thanks to Dwayne for doing 90% of the hard work on all the box truck and the bus lease, and for Sarah for being with him along the way. All I did was get out of the way, and I signed the purchase request, so I didn't have to do any of the heavy lifting on that one. But I want to say thanks to both of them. With the upcoming cold weather and the completion of a lot of our fall outdoor athletic events, our guys are winterizing some of the outdoor buildings so they don't freeze up. Last week we had our pre-construction meeting with Schmidtline and our engineering firm. Went over the fine details of the stormwater project that they're going to be starting. The traffic control has already dropped off some signs. You might have noticed them laying outside. There's a tube that they're going to have to replace right over here at the corner of the building, so they're going to do that without interfering with the buses or anything. You try to do it on a day when we don't have school, but even then, they may be able to do it in the middle of the day. They didn't think it would take that long to insert that one tube and get traffic going through there again. They're hopeful that they may be here next week to start on that. So that'd be a good thing. Get it going. Have the completion date right after Christmas, I believe, like January 1st. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hoyer.
Hi. I want to say first on the box truck, that was quite an ordeal. I really didn't do anything more than translate to our team what Dwayne had done. He spent several days researching the MCAP membership, which has with a consortium arrangement that allowed us to be able to purchase this, and also how we could do that through the one vendor. He has a lot of experience with that, so he made it seem easy, but he did a lot of work on it. And I just want to say thank you to him. Our annual financial audit's complete. We don't anticipate any findings on the audit, and we expect the firm to report to you all probably the second board meeting in January. We've wrapped up all of our state reporting, at least for the time being, the heavy lifting of that reporting that's due around this time of year. We're moving into federal civil rights data collection report. After that, Tim mentioned the capital outlay plan, and so I work parallel to the work that's being done in the schools with the walkthroughs to prepare the financial side of that. So we know what scenario the district wants to use to approach that plan for the coming school year. After that, we'll be moving into some more implementation for Skyward. That seems to never end, but we'll be doing that. That's our plan, and that's really the main components of what's going on in the financial world. I do want to say thank you to the business office team. Our audit, ever since I've been here, has gone really pretty smooth, and it's all due to the work that they do every day. So that's it. Thank you. You have any questions for me?
Real
Think we're
quick,
good? Oh,
I apologize. On the Skyward, as it's progressed, it is what you thought it would be and lived up to the expectations, or
Skyward
still
is
some issues, or?
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't say there's any issues. We're still navigating. It is a very robust, sophisticated program. They've hosted districts like Broward County in Florida, I believe it is. They've got, their kids down there speak over 250 languages. So they're a very sophisticated program, and so there's a lot of components we don't use. And so that's pretty much what we do when we're trying to establish different and implement different components of the program, is just to determine how does this work for us, what do we need and what do we not need. And so my staff, they're very, very savvy folks, and they've figured it out, and they know what they need to do, and we're just trying to get some of those last, the low-hanging fruit of the program off the ground.
Very good.
And we do that with the help of our IT department. They're very instrumental in us being able to get that done, so.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right,
Anything else? All right, thank you.
thank you. Mr. Hirsch?
We are starting the fall interview day trek. We went to KU, or I went to KU last week, and head to Emporia this week and Washburn next week, I believe. So we're hitting some of the early ones. Most of those are kind of meet and greet, get to know some of the kids as they're moving out. And so it's a good time to get to know them, see them. The test to learn, test to play COVID testing has gone really well. We now have that open from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m. Daily. They were even open on Friday morning to help those kids that wanted to participate in activities on Friday evening to be able to do that. So it's been very effective, been very good for us to support our kids, get them back in school, get them back in activities. And I think it's worked really well, getting good reviews on that. Our last meeting we had with Shawnee County Health Department, they let us know as far as COVID vaccines for kids aged 5 to 11. They firmly believe we'll have something ready to go by Thanksgiving at the latest. So we'll see how that rolls out. Hopefully that'll happen. Don't know yet if we'll be hosting clinics or not on that. There are some logistics you have to deal with because parents probably need to be involved with that group. If anything, just to support their kid when they're getting their shot. So we'll have to work through some of those details as we get closer. But they are starting to think about that. But they're hoping by Thanksgiving at the latest we'll have something going there. And that's it. Any questions of me? Yeah.
On the career events or the hiring events and the meet and greets that you're attending, I haven't heard an update in a while on enrollment in those programs. Is it going up at all?
I don't know if I'm seeing any more numbers. Washburn's had a slight increase the last couple of years, I know, but I'd say we're slight right now. I don't know if I'm seeing any substantial increases in numbers right now.
So about the same.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bell?
Good evening. First, I'll give you a little update on ESSER funding. As you recall, when you approved all of those positions, that is taking up most of our ESSER money. So there's very few purchases with ESSER money, with the exception of some safety equipment, such as some PPE that's additionally needed, some extra air filters, those things. Otherwise, most of the rest of our ESSER funding is all committed into those positions. And then at the end of the year, we'll look at where we're at with those positions and what the needs still are based on the data that we're collecting, where the kids are academically, to determine if we can reposition some of that money for something else, or if we need to keep going in the direction that we're going. So I don't have a lot to report as far as ESSER spending because that is tied up in salaries for most of it. Secondly, I was going to give a big shout out to the high school. It was amazing to see every staff member was training today on pre-ACT 8-9, pre-ACT, and Workkeys. So I'll let Mr. West talk more about that and his vision and what we hope to accomplish, but I appreciate everybody just digging in, whether they're a PE teacher, an art teacher, a Spanish teacher, a counselor. Everybody was rolled up and committed, and so I really appreciate that. So thank you, Mr. West, and your staff for that. The middle school had their professional development today too, and they were all working super hard and talking about the vision and the needs of their students and what steps they're needing to work. I got the opportunity to work with the ELA department and the math department, and they are making plans and adjustments in some of their classes to provide intervention for kids that are struggling more than we've had in the past. So we're really been looking at what that can look like And they're actually already started providing intervention for those students. So I'm sure Mr. Urick can explain more about that, but I'm super excited about that. And lastly, we kicked off our our world language curriculum review today. So our middle school and high school will be redoing their curriculum review. And so we are excited about that, and we'll be able now to provide a document that the board will have all of the main content areas for that, and then we'll be able to post that on our website. So we'll start, as we continue to have more curriculum reviews, we'll be able to put that out there for everyone to access. So I'm really excited about that. So any questions?
Hey, Stacy, real quick, can you, because we have a lot of extra services and supports that we brought in for students. Can you talk just briefly about the 20% set aside for expanded tutoring, extended learning opportunities, things like that for students that are all part of that?
Yes, so part of our ESSER 3 requirement requires us to put back 20% of that funding for summer school and after-school programming or tutoring. So that is approximately $559,000, and that has to be spent between July 1 here that we just started and September of 2024. So obviously, once that requirement came down, any of the payroll for our summer school that happened after July 1, so our summer tutoring part of summer school, all of that was able to go towards that 20%. In addition, we have some at-risk tutoring that's happening in the middle school for kids that are struggling. Teachers can work on a time card after school, and we're also looking at some ways to provide like math intervention classes or social emotional learning, like building social skills and helping those kids in a different setting, and we would be able to do that all with that 20%. And then obviously any work we do this summer or any other tutoring we do at the throughout the rest of the school year would all go to that 20%. So we are using quite a bit of that. So you're correct. I apologize I didn't mention that. That's already set aside, that money.
And that's in addition to all of the other positions that have been in place since we had extra summer school, we had tutoring, and then these people have hit the ground running starting in August helping, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so I just have one more question.
Uh-huh.
How much money then is left over of the original amount that we got? Is it just the 559, or is there a little bit more that we've kind of pushed to the side in case there's some other kind of emergency? And how much is that?
Yeah, so the ESSER 1 is all encumbered and or spent. I think there's about $300 left of it hasn't come. It's encumbered, we just haven't got the invoice for it yet.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure that those that were listening understood that.
Yes, ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 combined, because I don't have the exact numbers right with me here today. Between that and SPED, we have about $100,000 that we have not encumbered outside or committed outside of that $559,000. So we have money, so when we need more face masks in January that we weren't anticipating, we have money to do that. If we need more air filters that we're replacing in rooms, and especially in our health rooms, we can do that. So that money's set aside for that.
And one more question.
Yes.
So what you're saying then is we have taken an aggressive stance in trying to make up any of the deficits that happened with our students during the coronavirus pandemic.
Yes.
We've gone to the max in the ESSER money to hire extra staff to help those kids.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Ms. Giebler?
Well, today, as you know, was professional development and collaboration time, and your board goal number 1 was in full display. Those teachers are working to hone their craft and become just amazing educators. They already are. They're just getting better and better every day. I'm so proud of all of them that I saw. So I want to speak specifically about new teachers. We have new teachers who were hired last year and got some support, but not the level of support due to COVID that we prefer to give our brand new teachers. And then we have new teachers that were hired this year. Prior to COVID, we have a new Teacher Academy. The support for new teachers looks like a mentor at the building level. The whole building comes together and supports their new teachers through collaboration with their team or their department. They have a mentor, and they also have support from their instructional coach. And then the district also provides professional development specifically for them, to meet their needs, called New Teacher Academy. Previous to COVID, that used to look like a day or a half a day of release time that we would get a sub, and we would share the sub between the elementary and the secondary, and they would have a whole half day to talk through some things that they needed to talk through, and it was usually on a monthly basis. So during COVID, that turned into Zoom meetings, 1 or 2 hours a month, 6 weeks, 9 weeks, depending on what we could schedule. Because we wanted to make sure that we were still supporting those brand new teachers, but we were also really interested in preserving their mental health and their workload. So we just gave them a lot of very specific, individualized attention. And then this year, our new Teacher Academies are in person, but we've split them up into first-year teachers and then second-year new teachers. And so the first-year teachers, they all decided to meet on professional development CT time days. So their meeting lasts from 4 o'clock till 5:30 today. So after they've gone through a whole long day, starting at 8 o'clock, of professional development, a lot of hard thinking, a lot of higher level thinking, a lot of curriculum planning, collaboration about kids, and intervention planning, then they move straight into their own personal professional development and learning as a brand new teacher. So they've put in a hard day, but they are getting the support that we can provide them and that they need. And I just want to shout out to our instructional coaches, because they're the ones that have taken that over and just really do a fabulous job. They develop very close relationships with those folks. They know them very well, and they support them in what they need. So today they were really working on your goal number 5, hiring and retaining very high quality people. We've got amazing new hires and amazing coaches and support systems in place to support them. So that's what they were doing till 5:30 this afternoon. And, I walked out with them and they were all talking and happy and energized. And the second-year teachers are doing a book study on Teach Like a Champion, and they were working just hard. And I just want to report that they are going above and beyond. They all are. So any questions about new teachers? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kinch.
Good evening. So I think the last time we were here, I'm not sure, but we had the breakfast, and so the breakfast it was well. The foundation made a little bit more than the time before. Last year they didn't have it, and so every year they've been increasing that program. So it's been really nice to see that even this year it still increased without having a breakfast from last year. So that was very exciting to see. So now what I call foundation season is over a little bit. We still have the Major Saver cards that are coming out this month, so look forward to that information, but that one kind of runs itself after its launch. So not much from me other than, reminding people that it's there. But so look forward to the Major Saver cards. All this money that the foundation raises goes to the students and teachers of Shawnee Heights, so it's always really nice to give back to them. Other than that, now I get to kind of sit back and go to my long list, which is the website again. So I'm going to try really hard to finish what I started there. All of the school websites are up, as you know. So the district website is next. So I will be working hard at that to try and get it launched. And Blair is down here tonight because I am showing him how to broadcast. I will not be with you on the 15th. And so hopefully he can FaceTime me if he has any trouble. So. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I'd just like to thank you for all the work that you've done with the foundation and getting that ready. The success of it, I mean, it continues to grow, and a lot of that is due to you and the work that you put into it. Not only the foundation breakfast, but also the other big fundraiser for the foundation is the golf tournament. And honestly, you've just done an exceptional job with that. And yes, it made the most that it ever has, but do appreciate all the work that you do to make it so successful. And the team. I mean, I know that the foundation has a core group that has stepped up and make it so successful, but you have done an exceptional job and do appreciate all the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
Good evening. I just wanted to tell you about a couple things that we've had going on. And one, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, so if I have, sorry about that, I apologize. But we have a student advisory group for the countywide mental health or suicide prevention initiative. And our group has been doing an outstanding job. Heard from two different employees at Family Service and Guidance, one who is in charge of that group or countywide prevention coalition, and one from which was the CEO. And they said our kids were doing an amazing job, and they really wished that some of the other schools would kind of take note of that and follow. And that was just an outstanding compliment, I thought, and really speaks to the service that our kids are providing each other in suicide prevention and support. And Corey Hinton is our school social worker at the high school, and she helps organize that group, and they're just doing an outstanding job. So that was exciting to hear. Always nice when you're getting compliments when you're out and about, so about what we're doing here in Shawnee Heights. Also, we've been doing some training with the department. One of our school psychologists, Sarah Richards, went to some training on utilizing school mental health professionals on crisis intervention teams. And it was an outstanding training. She had mentioned it was 2 days. And so she's going to bring that information back and work with the rest of our mental health team on what she learned. Also, I will be going to the law conference Thursday and Friday. So that's always a good experience, and we learn a lot there. And finally, I just want to give a shout out to the teachers, the special education teachers, and our awesome administrators, because they've been doing a lot of hard work, problem solving with instructional strategies and behavioral interventions, trying to help our kids be successful, some of which are really struggling this year for a variety of reasons. So they've been just doing an outstanding job, and if you see them work in the buildings, it's pretty incredible. So I think that's all we have going on right now.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you tell me what the details are of this support group that the high school students are providing for their peers? What does that look like?
Well, some of it is getting the word out about resources for their peers, and they have, it's a group of students, anybody can be involved, but really they provide that support system for peers, and then they talk about options and availability of interventions, and they just do a lot of things. I think they did some things at one of the football games. I'm not sure if that was this year, but they did that last year. So Mr. West might be able to speak a little bit more toward
So kind of just raising awareness and making
Yes.
sure that people understand that that's part of being a human, and that There are
Yes.
services available for you.
Yes, and they really try to work together amongst the schools so that it's a county-wide initiative. But apparently our kids are taking the lead in that, so.
Okay, great.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Burvert.
Good evening. Just want to highlight a few events that we've had at Barryton over the last month. On Thursday, October 14th, we had our first outdoor concert with students, our first and second graders. We had a hoedown in the Barryton parking lot, and we had pop and squeeze there, and we had cotton candy, and it was just a blast. It was wonderful to hear our children sing again, and our community just really came and rallied around them. It was a lot of fun. We also had an outdoor all-school key assembly on Friday, October 22nd, and that was exciting just to get back into the habit of celebrating our students who were earning those keys, just showing the excellence day in, day out. We're really proud of them and appreciate staff taking the time to honor them and just recognize their efforts also. This last week, we had a great time getting to talk with parents at parent-teacher conferences, had wonderful attendance. A lot of energy and attention went to just talking about Fastbridge, our new screener, showing data with that, but also showing other measures and how students are doing, not only academically, but also social, emotionally, and just growth in general. We also had a great time trick-or-treating as a building this last week on Tuesday the 27th. That was a lot of fun, and we had parents joining us and handing out goodies to students. And so we did this instead of a party because this is one of the things that we learned from our students who left us at 6th grade and are now at the middle school. They said that was something they really enjoyed last year, was kind of changing up how we did Halloween. So we kept that in mind and have started a new tradition, and it was really a lot of fun. Today, we really focused around social emotional development for our students, and we partnered with Quantum Learning, and they gave us just a lot of really great strategies and frameworks for helping ourselves, making sure that we're de-escalated as staff providers when you're working with students with just really intense needs. And then also, what are some tools that we can give to students, just because we've got especially students that have been remote for long periods of time now coming back to us, and they've been with us for a quarter. And so we're just seeing more needs in that area. And so it was a really great day getting to focus and learn more as practitioners. Anything specific questions I can ask for Barryton?
I was just going to comment, I heard from several parents about the outdoor concert,
Yeah.
just how wonderful that was. And I know that was a lot more work for you guys to have to move things out there and everything, but it was a huge success.
Yeah.
And do appreciate you taking the actions to make that happen. So that
Thank
was a
you.
great idea. And
Appreciate the
hope that
feedback.
hope the weather cooperates as well as it did this last time. I don't think you could ask for a better night.
It was. We
so-
got very lucky.
Yeah, but thank you very much for making that happen.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hummer.
Good evening. One component of our district mission is to engage and involve families. So we recently had parent-teacher conferences. 425 of our 449 were represented, 95% attendance. 93 of those were via Zoom, so 22%. And 335 were in person, which is 78%. So we noticed that parents utilized both. 8 o'clock Thursday evening, all parents received a link to provide feedback on conferences, and we'll use that as we look to our February conferences. Currently, 89 people have submitted their feedback on that SHES Communication and Family Engagement Survey. So we look forward to gathering more of those surveys, using that as a building with our building leadership team, sharing those results with our teachers, and again, being responsive as we look forward to our building practices as well as our next round of parent-teacher conferences. Our PD today at SHES was focused upon our board goals of number 1, instructional strategies, and number 2, social emotional needs and supports for students and staff. So we focused on the first chapter of MANT. And many times with MANT, people think, oh, that's just physical restraint and all of those body things that you do to support kids, right? No, that's really not what the core components of MANT are all about. Chapter 1 is all about building healthy relationships. And our building leadership team felt like MANT is important enough with these relational components that we wanted all staff to experience those components. So today we focused on relationships, as we know that students, parents, community, and even our relationships as staff are the foundation to all the work that we do each and every day. So we recognize that feelings and emotions are healthy and that we should feel those feelings, but we also are the decisive element on how we choose to respond and our actions and our behaviors through those feelings. So we know that we're the decisive element in our school and our classrooms, and our goal at SHES is to foster this culture. Here's what MANT says: where in this place with these people, I feel safe. So we're really working on that this year, and I appreciate all of our staff and their feedback today, as well as their just engagement and learning about healthy relationships. We'll cover and learn about the next 2 relational chapters of MANT in January and as well as February. Sarah Blacksom, our social worker, also presented some brain-based information on how we handle stress. So SHES teachers, we acknowledged that our own wellness and the importance of self-care as we provide care for others. So we explored self-regulation, self-compassion, and even made personal wellness plans with accountability partners today. So that was exciting to do. The remainder of our day was focused on Fastbridge progress monitoring. So teachers have been using that screening data from the beginning of the year to form Tier 2 intervention groups. And those groups happen in our classrooms every day under the direction of our classroom teachers. But we also have the support of our literacy tutors who come in to help lead those groups, overseen by teachers as well. We also have those Tier 3 literacy supports happening because we have a reading specialist and a reading interventionist, and those happen each day as well. But we know that we need to monitor student progress, and that progress then determines what the next steps are, whether they need to continue those interventions or we can discontinue those. So today was all about biting off that portion of Fastbridge of how do we set up individual progress monitoring plans for kids that we have linked to those interventions that we're doing with them. So yeah, we started that today. We'll continue to do that, but those are weekly progress monitoring that our teachers will do with each of those students receiving those supports to really help us make database decisions, which we want to continue to do, but also be more transparent with our kids on how they're learning, with our parents on the progress that our kids are making, with our teachers, with our interventionists, and even administration, and how the supports that we have in place are impacting our kids. So just wanted you all to know how SHES spent our time today, but again, it's a continued process. Fastbridge is new to us, and so we are taking it one step at a time, learning and implementing it with kids. So we look forward to the next screening, which is coming up soon, right? December. So we'll see what those results are as well. What questions or clarifications might I be able to make for SHES? Yes.
Just a question. I know last time you had talked about some concerns about parents understanding Fastbridge, and maybe I should have asked this to Ms. Bell, but after parent-teacher conferences and you had the discussions today, how were parents understanding and receiving that information? Were they clear about why we were doing Fastbridge? Did they have like a number of questions that they were concerned about? Just wanting to get some feedback on it.
Great question. It's new, and so it looks different than what we're used to with MAP assessments. So we had sent forth our, each family had received their student report. So they had seen it prior to conferences, but conferences gave them time to ask some specific questions about anything that they might have when it came to that screener that was taken earlier on in the year. The feedback that I received of those 89 people was very positive. So I think we can use that to help us determine. But again, I think those individual questions on what does this mean for my student was the most powerful thing that we could do during conferences. Because it's one thing to tell you, hey, this is what this report is going to look like, but when you can individualize that for your student and really see areas where they're strong and really see areas that maybe we could support even at home, that as a parent, I think is the most helpful information that we could do. But the feedback from Shez was really positive. Other questions? Thanks.
All right, thank you. Ms. Bivens?
All right, good evening. So I echo a lot of things that the previous two ladies have said about parent-teacher conferences and professional development. I wanted to highlight just a few events that have occurred since our last meeting. Or since my last update to you, rather. Donuts with Dudes occurred mid-October, and that was a great event for our students to bring out their favorite dude with them, whether that was their father, their grandpa, their uncle, whoever that was in their life that came and had donuts with them that morning. We are gearing up tomorrow to start our United Way student campaign with a pay to participate Spirit Week. And students can bring any amount of money to participate in each day's theme. So they could bring a penny, they could bring $5, $20, whatever the case may be. To participate. So that'll be our first event that will kick off tomorrow. We are the reigning champions for that. We have the trophy in our school, so we are hoping to maintain that status. We will also next week have a Veterans Day parade, a reverse parade. We'll have one in the morning and one in the afternoon, just so we can divide the students up. And not have all 470 kids outside at once. But students will be participating in activities throughout the week as well as doing that reverse parade on Veterans Day. The week after that is American Education Week. That committee met today, and I am so excited that each day aligns with Wicker, which is our main element that we're focusing in on right now with AVID. So every day, Monday will align with writing, Tuesday, inquiry, Wednesday, collaboration, and so on. Family Engagement Night, we'll have our first one that Tuesday of American Education Week, where we will wrap up our One School, One Book, which is the Lemonade War. And we will again align that with Wicker. There will be 5 different stations that are aligned with each component of Wicker. So I think the exciting thing for me is that AVID is now starting to become a part of our culture. It's not just something that we do, it is a part of who we are as a building at Tecumseh North. Going back to parent-teacher conferences, we had 94% turnout rate, whether that was in person or Zoom. It was really great to see all the families, whether they came in person or they were on Zoom. I will echo what Mrs. Hummer said regarding that family report that was given. We actually waited and went over that with the parents right there in person during parent-teacher conferences. And it was just really awesome to sit in on those conferences as well as my own students' conference and see how the the teachers were incorporating that with their data binders and having students set their own goals around their Fastbridge progress. Let's see, what else? Oh, today, PD. So I started out our morning with really just focusing in on the good. October tends to be a really tough month for educators in general, and we spent the morning with an Energizer where I had them pick a picture on their phone of their favorite something. It could be a meme, a person, a place. They mixed and mingled and got to share that 3 different times, and that just really builds the joy. And again, just trying to focus on all the good things that are happening within our own lives and at school. We focused on Fastbridge as well. We will retouch that progress monitoring in January. Mrs. Lewis, our instructional coach, and Miss Abernathy, one of our SPED teachers, led that professional development. And then our Dean of Students, Miss Hayes, led a win-win discipline, Kagan win-win discipline, 7 functions of behavior to support classroom management, culture, and relationship building. So again, themes that you noticed in the other buildings. She did a fabulous job with that. And then this afternoon, teachers were given the opportunity to plan, prep, look at data, and really just given some time to reset and prepare for the rest of the semester. That is all I have. What questions do you have for me?
Can you finish the acronym that you started?
Oh, for Wicker?
Yes.
Sorry. A Wicker is writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thanks so much.
Mr. Yurick.
Good evening, board members. I'll start with softball so I don't forget it. There's a pancake feed. That'll be on Saturday morning from 7:30 to 9:30 in the middle school commons, supporting the fledgling bowling program. You serving those pancakes, Erica?
I think I'll be at the KSB conference.
Oh,
We'll get you someone real good, though.
okay.
We'll get you a solid number 2.
Well, I like a Mickey Mouse pancake.
I'll put a good word in for you.
I'll tell them that.
Okay.
So that'll be supporting bowling, 7:30 to 9:30. Everybody's welcome to come out. It's $5 or $6, all you can eat. And it'll be a good time. Very delicious. The children will help and serve. We had parent-teacher conferences, good turnout. I don't have it all calculated yet because we just haven't had enough time. There are still conferences ongoing. Some happen after the fact. It'll be in the high 70s, low 80s this time. We like it to be about 90, but it's just a little bit lower turnout. You know, we're doing it a little bit different. You sign up for a 15-minute slot with a teacher pair, and I think that the teachers and the patrons are still figuring that out a little bit. But I think that about 25% of our families chose Zoom, and the rest chose in person. And we have good data. We asked them why Zoom worked for them or why the in-building option worked for them. We're doing a survey. This morning there were about 130 respondents, and I will collect all those responses and send them to the board and send them out to the larger school community when the survey closes on Friday. Take that survey. If you're listening and you're a middle school parent, we'd love to have your feedback. Giving away 15 gift cards to Milk and Honey. So our professional development was today. The board goal: all district personnel promote a culture of inclusion and acceptance and proactively address social and emotional needs of students and staff. So where we are in that journey is we're using the CASEL implementation framework for social emotional development. There are 4 focus areas. The first one is build foundational plan and support. The activities we've done to support that focus are we created a definition of social emotional learning, a definition of equity, and then we engaged in an iterative process to develop a vision. And today we looked at that vision and developed some priority focuses for our building. The second focus area of CASEL is called building staff capacity for social emotional learning. And what that means is before you can begin to push out social behavior training, social development training to students, you have to train yourself. And so you've heard some of the other administrators talk about that. One thing we did today is we took a personal social emotional learning reflection. Educators use this tool to address their personal strengths, think about how to model these strengths when interacting with others, and then plan strategies to promote growth in their classrooms, in their content areas, and across the school. It was very eye-opening to me. I learned something about my strengths and my personal weaknesses in the area of social emotional development. The second focuses of our professional learning today focused on data. So we got into the data. I wanted the teachers to have a good examination of how the students have responded to being back in 5-day school and some of the interventions we've had in place for them to address behaviors in their academics. So I can report that the teachers looked at the Q1 grades data, Q1 discipline data, our Fastbridge data, the parent-teacher conference data, and several other data pieces. And then we talked about the tiered interventions, the supports that we deliver to all students, and then the supports we deliver to some students based on need. I'll give you a little feedback on grades. Before the pandemic, the failure rate was about 2%, 2 to 4% at the middle school. Then during hybrid and fully virtual schooling, it jumped to about 18 to 19% failure rate. And then we're back down to 3.5 or 4%. So the students have responded and things have returned to normal. We do recognize that some students have some skill gaps, and we're addressing those gaps through tiered interventions and support. And then in terms of behavior, you might remember me standing up here and saying that the students had 151 behavior referrals a month when they returned in April and May. You know that place where they store the velociraptors? That was a little bit like how it was at the middle school when the kids came back. They just weren't prepared to meet normal social expectations. But after a quarter's worth of reacclimation to the schooling environment, the average count of referrals was 66 per month. So that takes us back down to the 16-17 school year, which is good. It's a good start. What questions do you have about middle school business? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. West.
Oh, Mr. Urick, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed the multiple teachers that dressed as you in your various roles in life.
That was great.
Thank you. A couple of off-script comments, just as reminders as I was listening to other people present. First of all, we wrapped up homecoming here a couple weeks ago. The weather cooperated and went very well. We had most of our activities, or all of our activities, outdoors. Most of them are anyway. Again, the parade, the game itself, the dance afterwards, and a variety of activities. Kids really had a good time, and it felt nice to be able to congregate and celebrate together. They did a super job. It was nice to have it late. Typically, that's kind of a dip. Tim talked about the academics of the school too. At the high school level, you can kind of predict when you have those dips, and sometimes when we invite organized chaos and activities into our building, the kids respond with organized chaos. And this year we did not have that because it was also right in between the quarter and the parent-teacher conferences, which is normally when the grades go back up. So we stayed fairly level throughout all of that, and that was nice to see. Our kids are maintaining a nice comeback in terms of being in school for 5 days a week. And again, like the other schools, we're providing those extra supports as needed. Also, I was reminded listening to when Sarah was mentioning that we had the big report close. Part of that was graduation rate. Our graduation rate this year, for the class of 2021 should land right at 94.1%. Which is a really, really good number. We worked hard for that. You guys were a part of that story as well. As you remember, we met a few times, and you met the individual needs of several of our students, and that made that happen. And they responded with the opportunity and did well. And finally, we also had parent-teacher conferences. I don't have the exact numbers either. I will send out a survey similar to what the other schools are doing. I'll send that out this week. But I can say from a little bit more than just observational data, that like the other schools, we were also more than 2 to 1 in preference of in-person conferences. Last year, given the need for Zoom conferences, our parents responded and really enjoyed that opportunity. And matter of fact, based on their requests and their response, we provided both opportunities this year. And frankly, I was expecting at least 50-50, or if I would choose based on the responses that our parents gave last year, I would have predicted that Zoom would have won out, but that was definitely not the case at the high school as well as in any of the other buildings. So I'll be interested to learn more about the responses from the parents as the other schools have kind of teased about in terms of what made the in-person be the choice and or what made the Zoom be the choice. And finally, as Stacy Bell alluded to, this Wednesday, nearly all of our high school students will be taking some kind of an ACT assessment. Our juniors and seniors, along with a few select sophomores, will experience the part of the ACT Workkeys. The Workkeys assessment is used to measure and communicate academic-related employability skills needed for 85% of the jobs in the overall workforce. These jobs include those that both high school graduates as well as post-secondary graduates will be occupying someday. So the test is beneficial for anyone planning on any sort of a career in the future. Workkeys consist of 6 tests, but schools more commonly provide students the opportunity to be assessed in 3 areas, those being applied math, graphic literacy, and workplace documents. The scores for each of these parts are part of a national career readiness certificate program. Our students will be taking the 3 parts that are needed for that certification. The Workkeys assessment is also recognized by Washburn University for admission to the technical school for high school age students as well. Most of our sophomores and all freshmen will be taking the pre-ACT. The pre-ACT is exactly that, a grade-appropriate test that helps communicate a predicted score along with specific academic strengths and weaknesses for the actual ACT that is commonly taken during either the junior and or, I guess, senior year. The state of Kansas is picking up the tab for the freshman, junior, and senior testing as part of their statewide effort. This is the same program that will pay for our juniors to take the ACT in the spring. The sophomore pre-ACT test is district funded and replaced the school-wide MAP assessment from a few years ago. So we're excited about that. The laptop initiative that we implemented at the high school for our juniors and seniors this year will allow this to happen in mass because all of them will have their own device. We were able to locate enough additional laptops as well as the desktop that serve several of our classrooms for our sophomores that are taking the Workkeys, and there'll be about 60 to 80 of those students. And then the pre-ACT will continue to be written, which is fine. A lot of our ACT tests are taken that way as well. So we'll take that written. And then next year, assuming we move forward with the plan to continue to get laptops rolled out, as that happens, we'll be provided with the opportunity to assess online there as well. One of the advantages of online is it gives us a little more flexibility in terms of a timeline. We have a window of time for online testing rather than a single day. And it also gives us much more immediate feedback. Our students, we will know the tests, the results of the tests as early as the 4th, and we'll get that information out to the students. And as you know, this day and age, immediate and timely feedback is very important. People don't like to wait weeks for a response. They don't even like to wait minutes in some cases. But if we can have them hang on for a day or two, we should be able to get some results back to them. So, any questions regarding anything talked about or otherwise?
Could you remind me, is it a requirement in the state for all juniors to take the ACT, or is it just that the test is available to them?
Just that the test is available to them in terms of their need to take the assessment. It's a bit more than that on the school. We are strongly urged to make sure that test is known and that students are encouraged to take that.
Okay.
So we take the approach.
I just couldn't remember. I know you talked about it before, but I just thought people might enjoy getting a clarification.
We do not try to make the decisions for the families. We try to give them all the information, and if they're not sure, go ahead and take it. But at the end of the day, it is a family decision.
Sure. Thank you.
I was just going to comment in regards to the parent-teacher conference. We elected to do it by Zoom, more so because of the convenience, to be honest with you. We didn't have to scramble to get up to the school. Also found it that is more beneficial that you could spend more time actually talking to a teacher because there wasn't, we had the 15 minutes and you could actually have good quality discussion about our student. And one of the teachers actually offered extra credit if the student was participating in the conference on that particular class, and ours actually, was a part of all the discussions, which was great. It was great interaction, but liked the ability to have it by Zoom just because of that. Just made it much easier for us. And
we'll try to involve all of our students. As a matter of fact, that'll be the expectation, to involve all of our students in the spring conferences as part of our student-led conferences for freshman, sophomore, and junior. So,
because you had done that before.
We have,
you
yes.
had that, a few years ago.
We did, yeah, we did. We did not do that last year. We did that in previous years, and we include that with our individual plan of study. I announced to our staff this morning that there are only 11 T-Bird times left before the parent-teacher conferences in February. There was a little bit of a panic. We got some work to do between now and then to get them prepared for that.
No,
that's a large part of that time, is that T-Bird time. And
no, it was great. It really was.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. West, I also chose to do the high school parent-teacher conference by Zoom just because it was in the middle of the workday, and I could, instead of spending the 20 minutes to drive there, then have a conference and then 20 minutes back. So I appreciated having it by Zoom.
I think the way that the high school conferences are structured currently, especially in the fall, that makes that, we should be able to continue to offer either one of those as an opportunity. In the spring, it might be a little bit more difficult just because there's a third party the student enters into that, and to be able to bring 3 people together virtually. But we'll make that happen if that's the difference between having the availability to have the conference or not, for sure. But in the fall, it'll be easy for us to continue to offer both opportunities. So, thank you.
Mr. West, I just wanted to say thank you to you and Mr. Whitney and everybody else on your team who's done an incredible job. Homecoming was terrific and loved it. And then last Friday's game was great. And I know, we were struggling to get some concession stand workers and things, but Ms. Crimmins did a great job. And so it's just really great to see the school spirit alive and well, and soccer happened last week, and there was just a number of events that were going on, and so thank you for leading that and everyone on your team as well.
I'll pass that along. Student Council has a large part of the homecoming week activities for sure, and Mrs. Crimmins has. She's this year, more than other years, I've seen her send out emails in terms of the concession stand asking for help, and people respond. It happens. So she has to take one more step to say, I really need you to consider it. We're still getting the community and teachers and patrons and volunteers stepping up to make that happen. So it's been
great
fun.
job. It's been fun.
Appreciate it.
Okay, comments and concerns from board members? Blair, would you like to speak? I'm sorry about that. You have a big day on Thursday.
The IT department has been working on board goal number 4 the last couple of days. We've spent the time when students are not in the building to really go through and update all of our systems, do some migrations, recycle some equipment that is out in the buildings, so we can get that over to central office. And then just get ready for that big push through December. So we miss having students in the building, but it's kind of a nice break for us to get some stuff done. So I appreciate my staff working so hard over the last couple of days. And I think that's it. Questions?
Congratulations to you.
Yeah.
That's what we need to share.
Share the good news.
He's so humble.
So we were nominated by Cisco for the Cybersecurity Defender of the Year award. It's the first year for the award. And they had a lot of applicants for 6 different awards, but in our category, there was quite a few. We have made it to the final 7 in the world. We are the only school district to be a finalist for that award. And we're also the only organization that does not have a dedicated security engineer or personnel or team, whatever you want to call it. So it's a team effort in our department to make sure that our district is secure. So it's quite the honor. It's not something that we seek. We just let our work speak for ourselves. So anyway, this Thursday, they're having a virtual ceremony. We're going to have a little watch party down at the Celtic Fox. We're able to get the banquet room and be working on another board goal. I think that's number 3 or 5, but anyway, to celebrate what your staff's able to do. So anyway, we're excited. We'll see. I don't think we'll win, but it's nice just to be a finalist. So.
I think it's particularly timely, given that the legislative post-audit had a report not that long ago talking about how many school districts are vulnerable for security issues. And I remember reading the report and thinking, not our school.
Not this one.
So good work, Blair.
Thank you.
your
And we're
team.
also working on the Kansas K-12 Cyber Task Force, which will be presenting some information to KSDE. So I'm excited to be a part of that. And I say it a lot, but I can't say thank you enough to the board and to the administrators. Without your support every day to allow us to purchase what we need to purchase to have a solid network and keep our users safe. I mean, a lot of people never get that chance in their career to have the support that I've gotten in my 17 years here. So just thank you, past board members and current board members, just for all their support. So thank you.
Thank you. No matter what, you're winners to us.
Thank you.
You know he's going to be asking for money next time.
Well, actually, I mean, I was gonna,
Especially if you win.
I was gonna ask him, should we be anticipating the next batch of laptops on our capital outlay? Because I know that there are high school students really eager to get those. To be expected.
Okay, comments and concerns from board members.
I just have a couple questions. Mr. Hallisey, if you can tell us, where are we with the Superintendent Student Council committees?
We have not met yet. I anticipate later this month having get-togethers with the high school and middle school students, so.
Awesome.
But it's not on the calendar yet.
Thank you.
But it's on radar.
I appreciate that. My other question is, where are we, and are we going to do any drug testing this year?
We haven't really talked about that. That was put on hold as we started going through the pandemic and everything. We really haven't brought that back yet with all the other testing that we're putting people through. Honestly, we'll just kind of keep that in the background right now.
Okay, thank you. That's it. That's all I got for you.
I just wanted to, the boys' high school cross-country team went to state this last week and did an exceptional job, came back 7th place. And I appreciate we ended up taking 2 Suburbans. I mean, just because of the numbers, it didn't, taking a full-size bus wouldn't really work. And so it worked out, very well, taking the 2, thinking outside the box, and taking the Suburbans worked out exceptionally well. But Dwayne Chapman worked it out so we could take those, and also gave the parents an opportunity, which is a big deal to the parents and the kids, to decorate the vehicles before we headed down to the Wichita area. But do appreciate Dwayne going the extra yard to make that happen for us. I really do. Last time we talked about the craft show that was here and how successful that was. It's nice to see how successful that has become. It was kind of a vision for me to have that to that size. And really, I talked about Pam Johnston really working hard to make that happen. But also, I missed out on the fact that I originally had approached Lisa Dodds about getting that going, and she really got us going in the right direction. And then Pam stepped in and just ran with it and just did an outstanding job. So really do appreciate all of that. Just want to also, Erica, I just appreciate all that you have done, as your leadership has just been outstanding, helping us through this, all the work that we've had to go through this last year, and do appreciate the leadership that you provided to the board on that. It's been absolutely wonderful, and Rosa, you've been right there as well, seeing you at all the different events in the district. You both have just been exceptional board members. I just appreciate all the work that you guys have done to see us be as successful as we have been. So thank you for all that you guys have done.
Thank you.
And I just want to remind everyone that tomorrow is the day to vote. And most of the people in this district, unless you're in the Topeka area, you're not going to have anything to vote on except for the school board. So just please go out and vote if you haven't already done so.
We didn't get to hear from Mr. Dial, and they did a great job last weekend. It seems like the days have gone by, but with their pancake feed and their craft fair, and having Venmo is dangerous when you're at one of those craft fairs, because I'm like, oh, this is great. But it was really great to be able to help with that and support them. And so coming from there, and then I was like, ooh, what did I miss? So going to South, and there were families there, and it was just a really nice event. And so kudos to their PTO and Mr. Dial for making that happen and making the pancakes say to come see South. I thought that was cool. I don't know how they do that. You might have to tell me the secret. But it was really neat. And so to follow up, from the high school one to South was just great. So if he was here, and hopefully he'll see this later, but great job to them for pulling that off, because it was good.
Oh, Barrington has a craft show coming up as well.
I'm going to be broke.
Isn't that right, Mrs. Bervert? That's coming up in December, isn't it? No, November 25th.
Write that down.
Yes. So get your account zeroed out again.
I know. That Venmo gets me in trouble.
Anybody else?
Yeah, just a friendly reminder, it's been mentioned that tomorrow is the day of reckoning. Go out and vote, exercise one of those constitutional rights. And as a reminder, USD 450 spreads into 2 other counties besides Shawnee County. So just because you're not in Shawnee County, don't think you can't vote in the school board election. If you are in USD 450, you can vote for the school board elections. Just because you're not in Shawnee County doesn't exclude you from it. But go out, wherever you are, whatever you've got, go out and vote.
2 quick things. One, I know she's not here, and I don't even know if she's watching, but I wanted to say thank you to Michelle Harrison for coordinating the candidate videos. I thought that was a really great opportunity in lieu of some kind of public forum. So I wanted to give a shout out to Michelle for taking the time to coordinate that and put that together. The other thing that I was going to say is I was going to ask Mr. Hallisey if when you guys meet with the Shawnee County delegation, if you could please extend an invitation to come visit our schools. I know that there are some legislators who have decided to weigh in on school board races, and I haven't seen them at any of our events. And so I would love for them to have the opportunity to come out and see the work that our teachers and administrators and our students are doing, and see what school in action really looks like.
We will. We actually offer them a standing open invitation to come out here, see policy impact on students and staff, to gauge those, to ask questions, to see how those statutes and the decisions that they make filter out throughout our school district, but also our community, and the impacts those have. Those are important conversations. We always invite them, and that goes on all year. We would be glad to host them in the summertime, in the fall. Some legislators, just to be honest, are a lot more available to do that and willing to do that than others. Some we never see, some we hear from occasionally on things. The really good ones will call us up and say, Tim, what's the impact on teachers with this legislation? What's the impact on kids? What will it really do to how you operate and focus on your work with children? And you will get that from some of the really dedicated people who really dig into educational issues. Unfortunately, it's not enough of them, especially right now, but we will continue to ask them to come out and see the good work, ask us questions, ask us tough questions. We'd be glad to share all that information so that they can make better decisions that will positively impact everybody.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, tomorrow's the big day, November 2nd, Election Day. Please make a plan, set your alarm on your phone, make sure you go out and you vote, take your kids so they can watch that process. I just want to say that I am so proud to sit here and I'm honored to sit here, and I know that it's something that I have gotten to do, and I'm thankful for it every day. And thank you for putting up with us. And we've been through a lot, made a lot of hard decisions, but I think all of us who sit at this board table can honestly say we have not always gotten along, and we have not always had good days, but we have always come back to this table with open minds and open hearts, and we have listened and taken everything everyone has said and had a lot of prayer and thought, and we don't take this job lightly, and it's an honor to sit up here with all of you. So I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate everybody that's sitting in here and all that you have had to deal with in the last 18 months, and I think we are finally in a COVID recovery state, and I am very positive that things are going to start, well, they're already going better, and things are going in the right direction. So I just want to say thank you, and get out there and vote, exercise those rights, and we'll be watching the polls, and I know everyone wants to go see a Chiefs game, so motion to adjourn. Or did you have anything you want to add? Okay, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second, if they.
Motion by Erica, second by Renee, all in favor? 7-0.